2B2T has a difficulty problem, and it's not that it's too hard, it's actually become too easy. For over 12 years, the oldest Anarchy server in Minecraft has had a reputation as being one of the hardest Minecraft servers. No food, no trees, hackers trying to murder you, and withers all over the place. The challenge of escaping spawn is part of what has drawn people in, but over time, much of that challenge has actually been eliminated, to the point that I've been receiving more and more comments like this one. It's clear that escaping spawn is the easiest it's ever been. So let's get right into it today. How did this happen? When did this server become the Weenie Hut Juniors of Minecraft servers? Well, all of the changes with a direct impact on the server's difficulty can be placed in one of three categories. Changes that the admin of 2B2T has made, changes that the players themselves have made, and changes that happen due to influences outside the server itself. Let's start with the server's admin, Housemaster, who tries to be mostly hands-off with the community, but is sometimes forced to act. His first change that made the server easier was extending the spawn radius. When 2B2T first opened in 2010, everyone spawned no more than 50 blocks away from the actual 0 point, which meant it was possible for early griefers to lava trap the area and kill everyone. Anytime spawn became too difficult to escape, House would try and balance the difficulty by making it easier. Sometimes he would flatten spawn lava casts, but in most cases, he would just increase the spawn radius to at least give new players a chance. Now, since this has been done multiple times over the past decade, the current spawn radius is over 2,500 blocks away from 0, which means there's a chance that when you join the server, you'll automatically bypass some of the most dangerous and hostile areas. Another way House has made it easier is nerfing portal traps, which were a classic griefing method. How it's supposed to work is you build a set of portals, but on the nether side, you surround the actual portal blocks with obsidian. This makes it so if you are unarmed and go through a portal, you would be stuck on the other side with no way out, and if you wanted to escape, you would have to jump around until you starved to death. These traps especially became popular when the server's /kill command was removed a while back. But after realizing how effective they were, House changed it so that if you were stuck in a portal for too long, it would automatically send you back to the original one in the overworld. This nerf to portal traps made them far less effective at containing and killing new players. Another way House has made the server easier is allowing less withers to spawn. Originally, there was no limit on how many you could create in a single area, making it a lot harder to pass by if you were a new player. But eventually, to improve server performance, House would only allow a couple of withers to be spawned in the same area. So while this change was made for performance reasons, easier difficulty was a side effect. Now, these three changes alone may not seem like a big deal, but as we move on, you'll understand why they actually are. Let's move on to the players of 2B2T. Over the years, their direct actions have also lowered the server's difficulty both intentionally and unintentionally. One of these involves infrastructure. In the early days, players tried to conquer the wasteland by building roads, highways, and other buildings. But since they were made of basic materials such as cobblestone or netherrack, they were often destroyed as quickly as they were built. As time has gone on and the player population has exploded, groups have formed with the sole purpose of making travel easier. Two of these modern groups are the Motorway Extension Gurus and the Highway Workers Union. Thanks to Obsidian becoming one of the most duplicated blocks on the server, they've managed to build absolutely awe-inspiring roadways that have revolutionized travel on a survival Minecraft server. You can find an Obsidian highway leading in almost any direction away from spawn in both the overworld and nether. It's to the point that it's possible for new players to escape tens of thousands of blocks without even needing a piece of food. Recently, the Highway Workers Union reached their goal of widening the diagonal nether highways, making escapes even easier. Because House nerfed wither spawning over the years, it's almost impossible to destroy these highways faster than they can be rebuilt. And this is just the intentional infrastructure. Sometimes a project gets built that makes things easier by complete accident. Recently, the majority of Spawn was covered in darkness by a group named the Spectrum Builders. They did this by covering the region with 100 million obsidian at build limit. It's an absolutely amazing achievement that we'll discuss more in a future video, but there was an unintended repercussion. If you spawn under it, it's very challenging to survive in the darkness. But if you spawn on top of it, you can literally walk 5,000 blocks in any direction unopposed and get to safety. It completely trivializes some of the most dangerous areas of Spawn. So player infrastructure has made escaping easier both intentionally and unintentionally. And we've just hit the tip of the iceberg, so if you're enjoying this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button, but hey, no pressure. So yet another reason escaping has become easier is less player events and incursions. For many years, players and groups would come together at Spawn for the sole purpose of making it more challenging. They would build lava walls, destroy highways, and even flood 0-0 with water. These events actually worked in making it harder to escape, but they worked a little too well, to the point they attracted the attention of Housemaster, who would then further extend the spawning radius like I mentioned earlier. The current radius of 2,500 was put in place specifically because of the spawn being flooded in 2020. After a while, it became clear to the community that House would just extend the radius when things became too challenging. So because of this, groups are not as motivated to do these massive projects as they used to be. Why put in all the work if House can undo it with a single line of code? Another way the player base has made it easier is that in general, they're just more helpful these days. There are plenty of players going out of their way to help people survive in the wasteland, whether it's growing food and leaving it for explorers, helping with public projects, and even offering taxi services. The explosion in the server's player base has definitely attracted more good apples than bad ones. And coincidentally, because of this, spawn killing culture is dying out. For most of 2B2T's lifespan, spawn killing has been an integral part of the server's culture. Established players would go to spawn and kill new players for sport and personal enjoyment. And in a weird way, this practice allowed people to form friendships. Even some of my earliest 2B2T videos are about killing new players. But all of the changes over the years, such as the extended spawn radius, the player-made highways, and the nerfing of portal traps, have made seeking out these new players far more tedious. You have to cover such a large area just to try and find people. In some cases, by killing someone, you actually end up giving them a more favorable respawn position away from 0-0. They have more options for escaping unseen and unopposed. In many cases, hunters come across an unarmed account only to find out it's an AFK bot, which ruins the enjoyment of the kill. While there is still PvP that takes place at 0-0 in the Nether, spawn killing as a practice is not nearly as prevalent as it used to be. Everything we've mentioned so far are just the actions of the players and the admin. There are outside influences that have also made the server easier, and a big part of this involves the gradual advancement of hacked clients. As an Anarchy server, cheating has always been allowed on 2B2T, but it was still possible to survive in vanilla. But over the past decade, hack clients have become far more sophisticated. You have a huge arsenal of tools at your disposal that can make escaping even easier, such as anti-hunger or traveling at the speed of sound in a floating boat. You also have projects like Baritone that essentially allow the game to play itself, and you can have an account automatically escape spawn just by typing in a few commands. And these systems naturally utilize the player-made highways. A cool achievement from a technological standpoint, but yet another way the server's difficulty has been trivialized. Now, despite everything mentioned so far, don't get me wrong. To a casual Minecrafter, the server can still be a huge challenge, especially if you play in vanilla or you get unlucky with your spawn point. But from personal experience, it's clear that escaping 2B2T has become easier than ever. House has a long history of trying to balance the server's difficulty, but this is usually in response to player actions. So the question now is, what are your thoughts? Do you agree that the server is too easy? Or is it still just the right amount of challenge? Let me know down in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this video today, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button, and follow my socials. Take it easy, Fit Fam, and stay alive out there.